Welcome to Morning Joe and the Pro. I'm Marco D'Angelo. This is the Thursday edition, April 4th. I'm sitting in once again for the Prez, and today we've got with us Tony Finn. Tony, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. Beautiful day here in Vegas.
It is. It's still not warm enough yet, Tony.
I agree.
This has been the coldest winter that I've had since I've been here, and I moved in 2008. I'm not liking it. Let's get back to Vegas weather. But Tony, it's Final Four week. We got that coming up on Saturday. I'll get your takes on those games in a moment. We got a couple college basketball games tonight, and we'll take a look at that, and then we'll take a quick look at those. I'll get a free play from you on something for our viewers, and then if you got any specials you want to talk about and what you got going today, we'll do that as well on the show. But tonight, two college basketball games. We've got the NIT game, Lipscomb and Texas in the NIT Championship game. And then in one of those other college tournaments, I don't even know which one that one is, but it's Wisconsin, Green Bay, and Marshall. Tony, as we look at the NIT game, Lipscomb, they are a team that you got to figure they're a little pissed off. Let's be honest. They thought they deserved a shot at the big dance. We know that the teams like that, from a conference like that, I don't care how good your regular season is, when you have the slip up in the conference tournament, you're going to get screwed 9 out of 10 times, maybe 95 out of 100 to make it more accurate. And unfortunately, that's what happened to them, and here they are in the NIT. But they're in New York, buddy. Do they have a shot tonight against Texas, who finally beat TCU for the first time this year in match number 3 2 days ago?
For Texas is a difficult team to gauge. Many times, they've had, Shaka's had his Shaka Smart's had his issues with some player personnel. They have. This is a team that beat North Carolina and then really struggled for a while in the Big 12, which in a year I thought was fairly pedestrian for the Big 12. But here we are, Texas Tech in the Final Four. Does Lipscomb have a shot? These are two teams that really contrast. Lipscomb wants to play at tempo, and they beat a Wichita State team that lost about 80% of their production from last year. However, if you look at that conference, Wichita State's moved from the MVC, from Missouri Valley, into the AAC, and what the AAC did with Houston, UCF, etc. I really, really like this Lipscomb team tonight. I went against the grain when they were playing Wichita State and really liked the over. I didn't think Wichita State would defend as well as they did, but they couldn't score with Lipscomb. So do I like this? Do I like Lipscomb to avenge some of their disgust with the NCAA? I do.
Yeah, and, for Lipscomb to win against Wichita State the other night, they did it where they shot the ball poorly. That was their worst shooting performance in a long time, and they still were able to come away with a win against a, better team, Wichita State. So that says something for the character of this Lipscomb team. I got to agree with you. As far as the money has gone in this game, Tony, obviously Texas is the name in this one, and they've gotten the majority of the tickets. I'm looking across the board at, some bet percentages, and they've had 65% of the wagers, the tickets, but yet we've seen no movement on this line. It's sitting steady at 1.5. It opened at 1.5, and it's still there. Where we have seen some movement on this game tonight, though, has been with the total. The opening number first out of the gate was 146.5. We're down to 143 at most books. I'm seeing one shop at 42.5. So definitely some love for the under coming in on this one. In the second game, Wisconsin-Green Bay takes on Marshall. And Marshall, they've been playing at home, man. It's been a one-way ticket for them to get to the championship here. In Wisconsin-Green Bay now has to go out on the road after playing a few games at home. They did win one on the road to start this tournament, but this will be the toughest test for them. We're seeing this one line opened up at 5.5. I'm seeing a majority of 5.5s across there. I do see a 5 at one of our local houses here in Vegas, which actually is kind of odd because it's at stations, and generally you see more action to the favorites at station than the dog. So you do have a little dog love going there at stations here in Vegas. So if you like the favorite, run on over to your local stations book, and you can get it for 5. If you like the dog, you're pretty good at 5.5, pretty much around town. How are you seeing this one?
Well, this is a game where I thought that, as you just mentioned, looks like the bets are fairly split from public to at least ticket-wise. The total is I'm showing some love, as you said in the last game, to the under. In this game as well, the number is fairly high. 171 is a pretty big number, not necessarily for Wisconsin, Green Bay, and Marshall, but I would have said, let's say we had this nice little video and the number was still 171, I would have said I like the under in this game as well. But now losing 4 points of value, this game really almost has I see no edge, no value, and to be completely fair, it's a conference that you probably follow closer than I do.
Yeah, it's and it's not one that I follow real close, but the Horizon Conference, Wisconsin, Green Bay, definitely played well in there. Of course, they weren't the conference champion. That was Northern Kentucky. You look at this one, and yes, again, we're seeing the love for the under. Opened 171 was the first number out. Westgate here in Vegas opened it at 169, and we're down at several books to 167. Flip side will say that we mentioned Stations in the last game. Stations is still at 168.5, where everybody else is at 167. So you can get a little, if you like the under, you got some value still there at your local stations here in Vegas. Tony, we did videos yesterday in studio. Yes. We covered all of the games for the Final Four. We actually did both games twice, getting some different guys, so you had some multiple opinions. Sitting in for the Prez this week, everybody that's been on, I've asked them their take on the 2 Final Four games. Since we did do the games in detail over at WagerTalk TV, I'm not going to ask you to go into detail on these games because we did it over there, but just for our viewers here that might not have seen those videos, just a quick take if you had any opinions on the 2 Final Four games on Saturday, either side or total, looking at those games. I know you'll be selling something on Saturday, so obviously not asking you for that, but just your general takeaways from what we're looking at heading into Saturday action.
Well, those that will watch those videos, and those who have watched those videos over the last few weeks will know that I've really been one that's faded Michigan State almost all year. Especially early in the year. Then when Langsford went down and they suffered through some injuries and some short bench issues, if we're going to give kudos to someone in this tournament, I think Izzo deserves a lot of kudos for taking what he has and gone as far as he's gone. I really like Texas Tech in this game. I really, just because of the matchup and what they're able to do and the exhausting way that they scheme their defense, and Chris Beard does. And I feel, and just to switch over to Virginia, I feel the same way about them. The conundrum in this, the interesting and the intriguing game of Auburn and Virginia is the contrasting styles, and what Auburn has to do to win, or what they typically do to win, Marco, is what Virginia does best defensively, and that's they don't turn the ball over. Auburn has 10 steals a game, and if they don't turn a lot of those turnovers into transition points against Virginia, and they don't hit their three. No one hits more threes in college basketball than Auburn. Here's your dilemma: if you're a handicapper, a sports investor, if you're a self-handicapper, Marco, which team is going to do a better job of executing their strengths and some way avoiding their weaknesses, as in contrast again to the 2 styles? It's so interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun, and a free play. Really, what I like here is I really like Tony Bennett. I trust Tony Bennett to do everything he can to slow the pace and not turn the ball over and eventually frustrate an Auburn team. It's like a young puppy, Marco, that wants to get out and run, but he's caged. And if Virginia's going to win, that's probably what they're going to do. I know they're going to scheme that way, and my free play would be to the under in that game, under 130.
Under in the Virginia-Auburn game. And
correct.
That is something that probably, Tony, if you like Auburn, you're going to be a guy that's going to probably lean more to the over. If you
correct.
like Virginia, you're going to lean more to the under because you definitely want them to be playing the style that they are better accustomed to and impose their will. The one thing I will say about Virginia, as different than the past editions of Virginia, this team does score. They
yes.
do have a very efficient offense. They don't go up and down the floor, and put up, they're not going to run and gun with you, but they are more efficient this year in what they do with the basketball. And surprisingly, they shoot the ball very well from three-point range themselves. They just don't take as many as, your Auburn team would do. So that is the new addition to Virginia this season. We always know with Bennett, you're going to get the defense. This
yes.
year they got a little offense to go with it, so we'll see what happens. But Tony is going to give you the under on Saturday in that Final Four game. Tony, you got anything going tonight at WagerTalk or anything you want to talk about, promote?
I have. Yeah, we got a short slate in Major League Baseball. Had 2 games postponed. But I do have one game I really like. I think there's a pitching mismatch, not only in form, but in capability right now at this point, and really edges. It's a National League game, a night game, and you can get it for $20. And I'm on a 9-1. Hey, a 9-1 MLB run to start the season. So jump in there, join me, and let's see if we can't keep it going. Yeah,
we've got some incredible guys out of the gate in baseball, and kudos to you on your start. I don't have my play up for today yet. We are finishing. I'm trying to confirm something with a lineup on one of the games. I'll have that up within the next hour. We're on a nice run, Tony. I don't have the volume that you've had thus far. We're 4-1 out of the gate in baseball, and I went against my Buccos last night. The Buccos, my God, did they blow one? Thank you. Let me tie it up, and then went into the extra innings and got the win. But we still have that deal. I've been running it all week, doing it since I am hosting. And baseball, has been my bread and butter for sure the last several years. If you want to jump on board, that season price in baseball, you can get it at a $200 discount. Use coupon code MARCO200. That's MARCO200. Get $200 off my season baseball package. Tony, appreciate you joining me this morning for the Morning Joe and the Pro. I'm sure it was a much more enjoyable experience not having the Prez busting your balls for 20 straight minutes as he does. But only one more day of me, guys, and then you get the Prez back. My condolences. He returns on Monday. But I'll have Brian Leonard in the seat tomorrow. The red-hot Brian Leonard. I think he's won 10 in a row, Tony. Sizzling guy. And, rumor has it that he, with this winning streak, he's actually eating at places that he uses a knife and fork now. I mean, the joke with Brian is when you hang with him, you never get to use a utensil at the eating establishments, but he's on quite a roll. I think he's using a knife and fork. Hope he's watching, busting his stones. I should have saved that joke for tomorrow when he was on. Maybe we'll repeat it for him tomorrow. Hey, Tony, appreciate it. Good luck in the Final Four, my friend. And check Tony out. Off to a great start in baseball. Be sure to check out his baseball play tonight. He told you it's a pitcher mismatch. He sees it. And you'll get all of the reasons why when you buy that play. Tony gives you a big analysis with his play. Check it out over at WagerTalk. I'm Marco D'Angelo. He is Tony Finn. Good luck today. Cash some tickets. We will be back with Morning Joe and the Pro tomorrow. Brian Leonard in the hot seat with me tomorrow. Take care, Tony.
Thanks for having me, Marco.